Anyway, show you how I have this set up. Bit jank, you know? Oh no, it crashed. Still a beta, still a beta. We're good, we're good. So to show you how I have mine set up here, just so you can kind of see, everything that I have is all in one scene. So I only have one scene up here. I just called it main. And then I have everything in layers. And then I set up over on this side, I've got these hotkeys. I'm kind of streaming through Polypop. So I'm using Polypop to create the scene. I'm sending it to OBS via the virtual cam, which is right here. Because when you have this, it will allow you to use Polypop as a webcam. So you put everything in here and then it just sends out a webcam source, right? I have these hotkeys set up and then each of these hotkeys go to transform things. So like if I go to my camera as an example and I look at the transform, I have this transform set up to different hotkeys. So when I press the transform to the left camera, you'll see the X position down here changes. So if I go from left to right, the X position changes and it has a thing that it does there. If I go to half cam, I have it set so it does like this little thing if I'm like talking about something but I want to show the webcam. Yeah, you can. So basically you'll throw Polypop as your webcam, start virtual cam in the program, and then whatever you do here, it will output to any program. So like OBS, Discord, whatever, like it will show up that way. Then there's some other really cool things you could do. Like if I want to, they've got some pre-made like Twitch things, right? So if I do Twitch user cards and I add this in and I want to see different things, like I can have a list of my followers on screen here and you'll see it'll have random followers, but I can also just do followers in chat. So like Mythos is in here, Crassus is in here, Maximus you can see is here, and you can, there's all sorts of cool stuff you can do. You could use this in Zoom, absolutely. So what it does is it's just a virtual cam. So you see how it's outputting to virtual cam? You can use this in any program that supports webcams as long as you can install this. This would be great as a presenter. Like if I'm showing something on the screen, but my camera is cutting off and it's not cut off on the other way, I could just hit this button and it'll move the camera. So it's there. Same thing with games. Like sometimes they have stuff set up on screen and you don't want to block whatever's on screen there. So you can do it this way. Here's OBS, which is what I'm actually streaming in. It just shows up as a webcam, right? So this is my actual webcam. And then I have OBS set up with a bunch of stuff, but Polypop camera, which you see in this list here, when you do this drop down, Polypop camera is your actual camera, and you can see this in Zoom, you can see it in Discord, you can see it in whatever service you want. You can also use Polypop if you just want the effects from Polypop in OBS, because there's some cool like 3D effect things you can do in Polypop. You can overlay it and then it will just go over the top of your screen. It kind of chroma keys it out. There's some cool things you can do with that. I really should make a Zoom hotkey. So let's do that. So we'll show you how to do hotkeys. So if you want to do hotkey, right here on the left-hand side, this is where all of this is your library. So your cameras go in here, your alerts, your pictures, your video files, your audio, everything goes here. So all of your sources are in this list, right? So if I want another hotkey, I just click this plus button, you click hotkey, and then it's asking what do you want it to do. I use F13 through 22 on Touch Portal, which is kind of like a Stream Deck program, but I run it on my iPad. I use this as hotkeys there, and then I'll rename this to Zoom Cam, and then F18, so I never forget. Now I pick what do I want it to actually interact with, right? So if I press this key, what do I want it to do? So on this side over here, this is what I want it to interact with is the camera. So we want to change this to 0. Scale all the way up. This is my camera here. And if I hit F18, it zooms in like this. And then it goes here. But then I can also do this on release, right? So I want this on release to go back. Portal. So again, I use Touch Portal for this. So we're going to rename this Big Face. What I can do is on hold. Input, we'll do low level key press. And this is F18. So now I have a big face button. Cool part about Touch Portal is I can also make it an event you guys can control, right? So do I have Big Cam on here? I don't. So let's add an event. We're going to call this Big Cam, and this is going to be on chat message, cooldown timer 0. Everyone can do it. Big Cam, and a flow of actions is going to be a virtual key press, and we'll do this for 2,000 milliseconds, which is 2 seconds of actions. Save, and now somebody type !Big Cam. Everybody hits the button and it just keeps going. So now you have big cam. This is just some examples of what you could do. So again, touch portal, basically like a cooler version of a Stream Deck. I have a Stream Deck. I almost never use it because I end up using touch portal a lot more. So that's just some examples of what you can do with this program. But I really like the fact that it's in 3 dimensions. I'm a big fan. Yeah, absolutely. On this side in your library, you would hit the plus sign and then you click Twitch alerts. Now I already have Twitch alerts on here. So there are different statuses that you could test. There are different alerts that you can do. You could do follower, subscription. There's specific chat messages you could set up, bit donations, raids, different cheer alerts, channel points if you have those. And then for chat alerts, you can do specific commands. Instead of using touch portal for big face, I could have just set it as a keyword. Polypop would have the ability to do big cam. This one also allows you to do Twitter alerts. So if you set out a tweet, you could have it show up on screen or do some other cool stuff with that. The whole idea of this versus OBS is that it's a 3-dimensional canvas. So in normal OBS, you have your X and your Y axis, and then you just layer things on top of each other. Adjust things up, down, left, right, but that's it. Up, down, left, right. Now there are plugins you can get like Stream Effects that allows you to adjust in a 3-dimensional space, but it's still a 2D plane that you're actually editing on. There's no true 3D, at least that I've found in OBS. Stream Effects is the closest you can get, but it never really makes things fully feel 3-dimensional. It just adjusts kind of the Z-axis, so it's still flat, but you're adjusting the curve of it. What this program does is it introduces a true 3-dimensional space. So like if I go to my chatting cam here, like it casts a shadow in the scene. Because there's a light source up above my head, a light source in the 3-dimensional space, and it casts this shadow that actually makes it feel 3-dimensional. Or you'll notice here, like my camera, there's actually a shadow that runs along the border of the camera, along these outsides. And as I move my camera from left to right, you'll notice that the border, like the shadow follows it. It actually gives it a 3-dimensional feel that you don't get from normal things like OBS, because OBS, it doesn't have the software to do that, right? And then on top of that, this has the ability to do 3-dimensional images that can interact with each other. So if you have if you're good in Blender, you could literally make your own custom whatever, import it into this program, and then that could be an emitter. It could be something that bounces around the screen. You can use it for all sorts of cool stuff. Let's add another 3-dimensional object. Like let's say I do this cube, I can tell it what I want. So I actually want it to pull my webcam. Now you'll see that there's this little box right here. So if I'm on this cube, it's there. It's in the middle here. So let's scale it up a little bit just so you can kind of see. So that's the cube. And it just looks like a normal cube, but if I actually rotate it on the X and the Y axis, you'll see it's actually like a full 3-dimensional object. Like this is a 3-dimensional cube that my face is actually planted on right now. I just think it's neat. Like it's really cool that you can do stuff like that in real time with this program, and it just works. So these are just some pre-made hotkeys. So like if I add this, it's going to import it, and then it's going to ask me to press a combination. So I'm going to do Control plus just as an example. So I hit here. After a few seconds, you'll see it explodes the camera, but it's just a pre-made hotkey for you to test out. And once it explodes, then you can interact with the stuff that's in there as well. So that's all that is. Check it out. It's a cool program. I actually like it a lot. Like I said, I've been messing with it for the last few days and really impressed by what it can do. Right now, it only supports CPU encoding via X265 or X264. They have said, the developer I talked to yesterday said that they're gonna be implementing NVENC in the next version. So that way you can use your GPU to encode, which is pretty awesome if you have an NVIDIA GPU, but that's not here yet. That is a future release. Really cool program. I'm a big fan of it. I think that's going to be it for today. If you guys have questions about this or any other tech stuff, join the Discord. I'm also on TikTok. I'm on Facebook. I am live every Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.